So, The Flash. Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, here with my brief, spoiler-free thoughts on The Flash. This was directed by Andy Muschietti, the director of It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. You know what this movie is, you know what it's about. I don't think I need to go into plot. All that I can do is just get onto the review proper. Trying to get this movie off the ground has been like trying to pass a kidney stone the size of the Rock of Gibraltar. That was before the Ezra Miller situation. I've said in other places that in my days where I watched Collider Movie Talk and John Campia's show on the regular, every other week it would be Flash going back to square one, or Flash has acquired new director, or Flash has acquired new screenwriter, and then a week later those screenwriters now left. It was just a revolving door, and it was just a mess. As someone who wants the DCEU to actually be good and to be taken seriously, it was a dark time. The constant revolving door in the director's chair and the script writing department, combined with COVID delaying the movie for some time, and Ezra Miller being revealed as the CEO of Prick Incorporated. Yeah, this movie had nothing going for it, with the exception of Michael Keaton as Batman, I guess. So, when it comes to this movie, you really just couldn't escape it. But, as someone, like I said, who loves the DCU, wants the DCU to be successful, I decided to give this a shot, even with everything in the background, everything going into it. 2 hours and 20 minutes later, I sit here before you and say, this movie is frustrating. It was a very frustrating watch. Why? It's quite simple, because there are actually some really good things here. There's also some really bad things. A general feeling of confusion. I think that's a better point to put it. I'm sure all of you want to know what I thought about Ezra Miller in this movie, and quite honestly, there are some moments of actually good stuff, undercut with some stuff that is either A, really awkward in hindsight, or B, just annoying.
Pain.
The majority of the movie, we are with Ezra Miller as Barry Allen that we know in current DCEU timeline, and the Barry Allen of what I'm just going to call the Michael Keaton Batman timeline. It's not a spoiler, it's in the trailer, you know exactly what's going on there. The Michael Keaton era Barry Allen was beyond annoying. Like, it was borderline painful at times. Most of the humor in this movie is directed towards this iteration of Barry Allen, and a lot of it just one of those shirt-tugging kind of moments.
That one didn't age quite so well.
I could see where the movie was trying to do with this dynamic, the whole, to quote the song Ooh La La, I wish that I knew what I knew now when I was younger. Basically, the Barry Allen that we know trying to pass along what he knows to this rather inexperienced Barry Allen. A lot of it didn't work, but I could see where they were going. But key focus on that statement is that a lot of it didn't work. Sasha Calle as Supergirl, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, was admittedly very good, and I can't spoil anything, but I hope they do something else with her, because she was quite good in this role, and I want to see what they do with it. And of course, there is Michael Keaton as the Batman, returning to the cape and cowl for the first time since 1992, and he was my favorite part of the movie by a significant margin. He has a lot of scenes with Ezra Miller where it's actually quite good, but when he is there as Batman, they actually do a pretty good job of showing that, yeah, he's older, but he hasn't really lost a step. I was very worried about that. I believe in the monthly preview I did with Jacob Martin for Life in the Movies, at the start of the month, I complained that Batman must have been doing DDPY to stay so limber. But the movie did a good job of kind of smoke and mirroring it and basically maximizing the strengths and hiding the weaknesses. I thought that was admirable. That's the stuff I liked. What I didn't like, first off, the CGI. The effects in this movie sucked. They were really bad. And I understand that VFX work is really hard. My respect to VFX artists out there, but Great Caesar's Ghost, the effects in this movie were hot garbage. And I heard somewhere that Andy Muschietti, the director of this film, said in an interview that they were supposed to look weird and they were supposed to look that way on purpose. That's a very weird flex to defend your movie in that way, like the bad CGI is supposed to be that way. Props where it's due to stand up to that, but you picked the wrong hill to die on, Mr. Muschietti, because my God, like there are some smudging effects where I feel like you could do that in Adobe After Effects and it would look better. And like I said, with my feelings earlier about being confused, the movie feels like there was about 2 or 3 different movies crammed into one, and just with no real care as to what made sense and what didn't make sense. Now, this has been a problem with the DCEU in the past. The original cut of Batman v Superman is very guilty of this. However, the Ultimate Edition, while far from perfect, definitely streamlined things and moved things along. This movie feels like a Flash movie, like in basically the Dark Knight Returns with Michael Keaton as Batman, a Supergirl movie, and the Flashpoint movie all rolled into one, and it just feels confused. Different tones are introduced, ideas are introduced but never really discussed again. It feels like a minestrone soup where you just throw a little bit of everything and then bring it to boil. One comment about the tonal shifts, there are a few entire scenes in the movie where the two Barrys are arguing with these people about Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly, because in the universe where they go, where Michael Keaton's Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman universe, Eric Stoltz was Marty McFly in Back to the Future, and apparently Kevin Bacon was Maverick in Top Gun. And there's an entire few minute scenes where it's just these people in this apartment arguing about that, and I didn't care.
Who cares?
It was the movie's attempt to try and be funny, and it didn't work. And the ending, well, again, spoiler free, so I'm not going to go into details, but yeah, this was allegedly supposed to be the end of one chapter in the DCEU and the beginning of another, with James Gunn being brought on as to head up the ship now. But I'm leaving this movie with more questions than answers. It just, in a lot of ways, this movie just feels confused. Ultimately, I'm going to give this a forgettable rating. I feel like there's just too much going on, and by being too much going on and just going like this, it's ultimately just going to fall flat. This movie should have been the coup de grace, but instead it was just the whimper. It's a very disappointing experience overall. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of the movie? Please keep it civil and respectful in the comments section. I'd love to read what you have to say, and I will be talking about this movie more in depth with a spoiler discussion, being joined by my good friend Matt Wyatt, and I am so looking forward to that. But if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe and click the bell to allow notifications so when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.